As I ring the Tibetan bowl this morning, allow the sound to resonate around and through you. Take a deep breath, settle your mind, relax, and settle into the peace of this sacred time together. Thank you, Michael. Well, good morning and welcome, members, friends, and visitors to the Unitarian Universalists of the Chester River. We are an intentional community gathering around our mission to support each other's individual spiritual journeys and to inspire, inform, and support all who seek a more equal and just community. We're pleased that you are here with us this morning in person or on our Zoom feed, and we welcome you. I'm Nancy Holland, your service leader this morning, working along with Reverend Catherine and Connie Schroth, and maybe someone else. In addition, this morning, as we enter this period of Thanksgiving into Thanksgiving week, each of us has the power to choose to bless the world in some way. We're collecting blessings this morning in your order of service. You should find a piece of colorful paper. And you're invited to add your blessing for the community, for each other, for our universe. And we will collect them during announcements. And at the end of the service, we will be sharing them back among the group again. So you will be receiving a blessing from some unknown member here as we enter this period. Okay, we've had quite a few announcements this morning. Okay. One of them is that in your order of service, under upcoming events at UUCR, there's an error. The multi-generational game night will be Saturday, December 6th, not December 12th. Apologize for that. You'll also see there that the tickets for our soup supper sampler are still on sale. Please see Jane Hardy after the service. Tickets are $25 and support our community, and they're going to be 10 wonderful soups and homemade baked goods and desserts. And it's a lovely evening. We also, let's see, that's that. Okay, I also wanted to announce there are posters on the bulletin board in the lobby on the whiteboard. Today at 3 p.m., there'll be a community meal sponsored by the Chester Valley Ministers Association. That will be at the Methodist Church on the Hill on High Street at 3 p.m. Everyone is invited. And there are two organizations offering free Thanksgiving dinners on Thursday, the 27th. One is at the Kitchen Restaurant on High Street, and the other is Fat Daddy's Restaurant. And there are posters for both of those outside. Reservations are recommended, but all are welcome. And then, last but not least, Linda's going to talk about our Social Justice Christmas.
Welcome to the holidays. I'm dressed like a Christmas tree or a holiday tree, and I wanted to let you know of a way to, here, let me put this back in. A way that we're going to simplify our holiday giving this year. We're not doing name tags and all those little details to shop for specific things, which I know was a bit of a problem. We, as the part of the Department of Social Services who have simplified their process, are going to be part of the Toys for Tots Kent County campaign. So this is our container for toys, new unwrapped toys. Trick here is you only have 2 more Sundays to bring them in. Sunday, December 7th and Sunday, December 4th. No, November 30th, sorry. November 30th and then December 7th. So there are quite a few details about, nothing that looks like guns, and if you want to give a check, there are details for that. And obviously we'll be supporting food banks and stuff. We have our other container out there. But this is the way we're doing it this year. So this will be in the lobby, and I hope it simplifies everybody's life. Happy holidays, another way to give.
Thank you. Okay, and now please join Connie and me. I will light the chalice, and Connie will lead you in the words which are in your insert today.
This is We Are Connected by Leslie Takahashi. I will read the first line and you will read We Are Connected. Despite distance and fear, we are connected. Despite loneliness and change, we are connected. Across different experiences and lives, we are connected. Even in the face of the inevitable losses of life. When we wish to laugh, when we need to mourn, across a nation divided, even when we dance alone in a room, in the heat of the sun, in the glow of the stars, across the limitations of our imagination, even when nature trembles. There's a connection in the next part of the service. The hymn is 318, not 311, in the gray hymnal. 318. Yes.
Well, again, welcome this morning. This is our Thanksgiving service, a time when we can reflect on all that we're grateful for and give voice to that gratitude. The time of year when we get together with families, friends, neighbors, and share good food, conversation, and blessings. Abraham Lincoln proclaimed the last Thursday of November as a National Thanksgiving Day in 1863 during the Civil War, helping to unify the nation during that terrible time. And it became an official holiday in 1941, also a time of conflict. And here we are this Thanksgiving, also tempestuous times, but may we hope for more civility and peace in the world, and share that one by one on this Thanksgiving Day. Now, I was hoping Theo was going to be here to read a poem that he had read several years ago here for a little levity on Thanksgiving. So I will go ahead. It's called T is for Turkey and Tofu. Some of you may remember this. T starts out with turkey and with tofu and together. H reminds us of happiness. May it grow beyond all measure. A means all who are returning, a reunion in the fall. N is for newcomers, to our fellowship and a hearty welcome to all. K for kind friends with whom we will share dinner. S means surely you'll have fun, but you won't get any thinner. G is generosity, to share what we've been given. I for integrity, may we bring it to our living. V is very special because of each one here. I, we give thanks for individuals, for each one is so dear. N stands for our nation and its challenges and strengths. G reminds us of our blessings and calls us to give thanks. And now Reverend Catherine will lead us in a meditation.
Please join me in the spirit of meditation with an excerpt and adaptation of To Bless and Be Blessed by Tanya Y. Marquez. She opens initially with a quote from Henry Nugent. To give someone a blessing is the most significant affirmation we can offer. Blessings were an important ritual at home. Every morning when we were getting ready to leave our home for school, my mom would stand there by the gate where we stopped before taking our first step outside our home, and she would give us a blessing. No matter how chaotic our morning was, no matter how late we already were for school, her blessing suspended us in time for a moment. And right after it, we were back in the same rhythm, to go on with our lives, to keep rushing to get where we needed to be. There was something very real and profound in this daily ritual. As an adult, it took me a long time to realize that I too could bless. It was not easy to learn that I had the ability to bless, to send my good wishes and the wishes and safety of those I love. I simply had to recognize the sacredness of something or someone. I discovered that blessing something or someone is recognizing their sacred nature, caring enough for them enough to want them to be protected, and a way of expressing my gratitude and reverence for them. I believe now that we can all bless. And when we stop to do so, we create a pause, a breathing moment in our day to recognize what is holy or that something needs our recognition and care. A pause, perhaps, to interrupt the sped up rhythm of our lives and bodies, that we can create a blessing to recognize the sacredness of blessings that affirm and validate us or others. Blessings that make us and others feel affirmed. Blessings that are prayers for all of us to find our way home to sanctuary, to our safe spaces and people. And she ends with a blessing. I bless the beauty of your being, the sacredness of your breath and the unfolding of your spirit, the fullness of your humanity. And I bless each moment you pause to recognize all that is holy in and around you. Holding that blessing in our hearts, I'm going to invite our choir to offer a song, Be Still and Breathe.
Okay, this is the time we reserve for sharing our joys and concerns and those things that weigh on our hearts. I'll light the first candle, and then you may come up and share, and I'll light the candle for you. I light the first candle again for Thanksgiving. Let's hope that this Thanksgiving Day, there's peace and no one perishes. A candle for our member, Gail Folger, who took a fall this week and broke her hip. And she's had surgery. She's at Easton Hospital. She had a partial hip replacement. She came through the surgery well. They're expecting that probably tomorrow she'll be moved to a rehab facility. So I can't give you any information on where to send cards yet or whatnot, but her son is with her, some of her caregivers are with her, and so we send her good wishes. Anyone else care to share a joy or?
I'm sharing a special joy. This past week marks the third year of my wife's passing, and I thought it would give a little bit of a tribute to her. When we got married, as at Fort Meade, she was teaching, and I was in the military and working at NSA. And of course, she made more money than I did. And then we went to Germany, and she was teaching some there and made more money than I did. And gave birth to our second child over there. Then we decided to go to optometry school and had a GI Bill. Well, then she got a grant to get her master's in education and optometric technology, and she made a little bit more money than I did. Then we got out, and I went back into service at Fort Meade as optometrist, and she was teaching, and made a little more money than I did. But then finally, we came to Chestertown, and for the first time, she ran, while we were in Indiana University, she also, besides getting a grant and going to classes, she had a daycare in an old fraternity home, so she ran that and plus taking care of the kids, plus taking to her schoolwork. Then we finally got out of the military again, and she was teaching me more than that. But then we came here, 1975, and that year, for the first time in 12 years, I made more money than she did. So here's a tribute to a woman who made my dreams come true.
Okay, quiet Sunday. So for those joys, concerns that were shared and those that we may still be holding in our hearts, let us take a moment of silence. Blessed be. And now is the time that we share our gratitude and our resources for the mission and programs of this church, for we are now the keepers of the flame. for your gifts generously shared. We are very grateful. Thank you. And now Reverend Catherine will talk about grounding in connection.
I bless the beauty of your being, the sacredness of your breath, the unfolding of your spirit, the fullness of your humanity. I bless each moment you pause to recognize all that is holy in and around you. As we gather throughout the winter season for whatever holidays we celebrate, I wish this blessing for you. I wish each and every one of us to bring this blessing with you into your communities, families, and with those you love. And in this season, we gather. We gather because we as humans crave connection. And we connect through conversation. Who has ever had a conversation that was amazing? Where you felt heard, seen at a deep level, and walked away feeling maybe a little smarter, maybe a little funnier, and well, just better. Has anyone ever had those? Right? Do you have someone you love to call when things are hard? Because what happens in every, or maybe most, conversations is you get that type of feeling. Is there someone like that for you? Right? Isn't that a blessing? Scientifically, because y'all know I'm a scientist, that's called neural entrainment. Our minds syncing with the person we're having a conversation to. Literally, our brain activates different pathways in different types of conversations. And we start activating the same pathways when we have neural entrainment. Good conversation and building community is built into our biology. Charles Duhigg collected scientific descriptions of people who do this, and he called them super communicators. In addition to being fun to say, that title indicates what they do. They facilitate conversations, nudge other conversation partners to hear each other. They made room for the conversation and create space where people could share deeply and groups feel closer afterwards. They don't impose their thoughts or opinions on the group. They'll usually start the conversation with, I don't know what I think about this, and invite everyone in the group to share. Super communicators ask questions. They repeat others' ideas and lifting them up, encourage others, laugh at others' jokes, and help conversations flow. In fact, they actually ask between 10 to 20 times as many questions as regular communicators. How'd that feel for you? Super communicators are constantly adjusting how they communicate to match their companions. They come alongside in serious moments, but they're one of the first to jump on a playful moment and a joke, right? They step into that awkward pause and go, maybe acknowledge it, and then help the conversation move on. All these differences create conversations that are active and feel alive. And they activate the same pathways at the same time, creating that neural alignment. And it can be imaged and seen on neural imaging that's now available now. Now, for anyone who thought we were going to have a checklist of to-dos to be a super communicator, get ready. All we have to do is listen closely to what's said and unsaid, ask the right questions for the right person in the right moment, and recognize and match our moods and our feelings and share our feelings, creating space for others' perspectives. And since any of those could be a lifetime work and skills that could take a lifetime to be developed, it isn't a checklist. Let's think of it as a description of a perspective, maybe a way of being. It is, however, something we can practice with the good news, and these skills can be learned. I'm bringing this to our community today because I think if we approach our holiday gatherings with this intent to understand, and if we try to practice these skills, our lives will be richer. If we continue practicing these skills in our daily lives, we can transform lives and communities and eventually the world. I'm grounding it in our first holiday of the season, since Thanksgiving is this week. The National Day of Mourning is this week. 2 or even 3 things that can be true at the same time. Much of my lived experience centers around the wonderful poem that connected us to our history as a congregation that Theo had shared with us in the past. That gratitude, that integrity, that putting love in the center. And even as I came to learn that historically, as Nancy had shared, the story that were taught to us of Indigenous people and fasting pilgrims, it didn't happen that way, and the coziness of the experience that framed those memories may or may not have been historical, but it's my lived experience. And true or not, that is a myth common in American culture. I love the memories of my family and friends while being with genuine, authentic family and friends in this time of year. Thanksgiving as a national holiday is more connected with reuniting the United States after the Civil War. Several traditions are grounded in capitalism. We center turkeys because they were plentiful, cheap, and one could feed a family. Farmers had a hard time selling them. They'd make dry meat. It's not a really great meal. No one would choose to buy them otherwise. But they were perfect for the holiday, right? Anyone else have that green bean casserole? Right? Where'd that come from? Campbell's Soup couldn't sell their mushroom soup. So they made recipes and put them in every single ad and everywhere to make it part of the tradition. It part of shaped the holiday. And I would be lying if I didn't tell you for the first 30-odd years of my life, it was not Thanksgiving without a mushroom soup casserole. Yes, a mushroom soup, green bean casserole, and it had to be fried onions. The National Day of Mourning formally arose in the 1970s as Indigenous Americans resisted the presentation of their history in the traditional Thanksgiving. Frank James, or Watsatsama, who was a Wapagan activist, brought the National Day of Mourning, and it's become an annual gathering of Indigenous activists and their supporters. It takes place at Coal Hill in Plymouth in Massachusetts. I haven't been yet. Someday I will, and add this to my memories of the holiday. For this year, I plan to attend a Showing Up for Racial Justice program, Rethinking Thanksgiving, Colonialism is a Problem, this afternoon. And Solidarity is an Answer. It's at 4. And share anything that I learn at Thanksgiving with my friends and my family. That's 3 different understandings of a national holiday: a named cultural myth, dominant culture historical, maybe myth, and Indigenous historical culture. And they can all correlate with 3 types of conversations we can routinely have in super broad strokes. Emotional conversations. How do we feel? It's what's grounded in the first description I gave of Thanksgiving. It's why we all laughed. As I started talking about my emotional experiences of the Thanksgivings of my past life, we could connect to that. It activated our emotional networks, making it easier for us to laugh in community. That's a how do we feel conversation. It connects deeply to emotions and memories, and there's a rush of pride and it happens whenever you're in the middle of a conversation, all of a sudden you feel that rush of pride or sorrow. It's where empathy lives. Practical conversations. What's this really about? It correlates with the second description of Thanksgiving, how it came after the Civil War. It was about reuniting the country. It's our problem-solving space, knowledge, choices, analyzing plans. What's the goal of this conversation, right? It frames what we want to accomplish and our motives. Without having those elements in a conversation, has you ever walked away going, we had a great time talking for a half hour, I have no idea what we talked about, right? That's important too, but that activates our prefrontal space and is a totally different network in our brain. And then there's the social conversations, the who are we conversations. And this is where we discuss our relationships, how we see ourselves, how we're seen by others, and our social identities. Gossip, religion, family connections. About 70% of our conversations have a social identity nature. The social mindset shapes how we listen and what we say. Can we hear how this relates to that National Day of Mourning? Right? When our minds don't align and we finish a conversation, we feel not seen or heard. And we're having different types of conversations, we literally can't process what the other is saying. We're in the wrong parts of our brain. But wait, there's more. In any given dialogue, we will shift through, often repetitively, all three of those conversations in different spaces and places. That's where the tendency to ask questions and match becomes so essential, right? And to notice, oh, wait, we were in that practical conversation, and now there's an emotional change. And now we're in the emotional conversation, and we're going to go back to a social conversation in a second, right? Connection means having those type of conversations together. And it helps us make memories that can span generations. Talking about those historical things is part of what weaves families and communities together. Integrating that poem, that's part of building our community. Whether you ever heard the first poem or not, you are now connected with those who were here when that happened, right? It's part of how we weave the community. And when neural entrainment happens, it feels wonderful. It's one of the things I love about our Unitarian Universalist community is that we set being together and covenant on how we will be together to hold all the diverse experiences and journeys. And our very brains and bodies are wired for that connection. Connection is and social engagement, I truly believe, is humanity's superpower. We have lived what happens when we aren't having the right conversations too. I know I am not the only person who had a problem-solving conversation, or what's this really about conversation, and someone else was having an emotional, or how do we feel conversation. Please tell me I'm not the only one, right? Or vice versa. You're trying to talk about how you're feeling and someone's solving a problem for you. That never happens. Someone doesn't feel heard, people don't share their experiences and thoughts and feelings, but retreat into their own mind space. True connection doesn't happen. Super communicators recognize that we need to be in the same conversation at the same time. And they understand how communication functions and flow through the conversation types and dialogue using those different parts of our brain. Charles Duhigg offers that we understand how conversations unfold, we begin to speak and hear in new ways. Now, I agree, and this is true because my understanding of communication has evolved tremendously over my life. In my youth, I was an excellent problem solver. What is this really about was my jam. Probably not so surprising as I went into surgery, right? I loved solving puzzles, logic challenges, things fit together, and if I could just perceive that pattern, I know it's there. And for the longest time, I have to really be honest, it's gonna be very weird to hear from you, Minister, I just didn't get people. Y'all complicated. People are messy, and they give you pieces that don't fit together. And one of my most common laments in my 20s was, why don't people just say what they mean? We can solve that problem, just tell it, just say it, right? I just didn't get it. So eventually I learned to read body language. And that was helpful, because when the words and the body language didn't match, usually the body was more reliable, but still confusing, I was all about the rules. And one of my key breakthroughs was learning to ask, was this my problem to solve or theirs? Developing that initial boundary all of a sudden opened a world where there could be something, and it wasn't my problem to solve. I could be there with them. I could accompany them. I could open whole new things and access those emotional and those social conversations that I really didn't use as often as I probably needed to before. Social learning grew in richness and engagement. Another was simply to ask, do you want to be heard, hugged, or helped? Right? I love how these connect to the 3 types of conversations. Do you want to be heard? That's a social conversation. Who are we? Do you want a hug? Is this an emotional conversation? How do we feel? And do you want help? Is this a practical conversation? What's this really about? Yet super communicators take it to that next level with intuitively matching and gaining insights from the frequent questions as the dialogue flows from one part of the conversation to another within their partner. Connection means having the same conversations together, making memories together. And when this happens, it feels wonderful. It feels like that social connection conversations that are 70%, that's our lens on the world, right? And when we can have those social conversations, that doesn't mean I agree with you, right? I can listen and not agree. Sometimes we get that confused. I can't even listen to what you're saying. That's not true. I absolutely can listen to you, and I don't have to agree. But seeing those social conversations and listening, even when we don't agree, opens the opportunity for us to be in a relationship. Does that make sense? So this winter season, I bless you with connection. I bless you with rich conversations that help you know those you love and those in your community. Conversations that may help you appreciate nuances about yourself and connect you deeply to those that come before. I bless the beauty of your being, the sacredness of your breath, the unfolding of your spirit, the fullness of your humanity. I bless each moment you pause to recognize all that is holy in and around you. You have been blessed. Carry this forward and bring a blessing to those you meet. Let us rise, embody your spirit, and join our voices in song as we sing hymn 354. We laugh, we cry. We're going to do verses 1 and 4. We'll pass the bowl around as we transition to our discussion. Please take from the bowl the gift of someone's blessing written on the paper you've chosen. You're now the tender keeper of someone's recognition of the sacred and care. Know that you hold theirs and someone else holds yours. And this is how we live out our interdependent web of existence, holding love at the center. Connie, would you be kind enough to help with the mic? For discussion. Would you be kind enough to help with the mic?
Well, that's interesting. Actually, I had a conversation with someone that I don't know very well. I've known her a long time, but not very well. And it was an amazing conversation. It got personal very, very quickly, and we had a lot to share. And I think it's opening a new avenue of friendship for both of us.
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, I could have mentioned this at Acknowledgements of the Heart, make you all turn your head. I had an amazing experience this week with a group of people who came voluntarily, stand in the cold, in the dark, not knowing who would show up. And it was a wonderful conversation that was very, very emotional. And it was the Transgender Day of Remembrance vigil that we held at Fountain Park on Thursday night. And we've been doing this about 20 years. It's acknowledging the names of the folks who were killed with violence or maliciousness because of their gender identity the last year. There's a website that connects the names. And so the process is a candle and a listing of these names. New names were even added to the list from the attendees who were there. And we read the names, or our leader read the names, and then we repeat the names. And we just stand there for a second and then go through these like 30 to 40 names. And afterwards, no one needs to really say anything because everyone's there because they know this heavy, heavy subject, but they also are there to be acknowledging these people's lives. And so it's a conversation that can take strangers in the dark and names and be very emotional at the same time.
Thank you, Linda.
I don't know. Thank you for the 3 H's. I'm going to connect with that. But I was just sitting here thinking of, I don't know if you know the writer Anne Lamott, who is writes about contemporary issues in her own life. She's lots of essays. And anyway, one of her last books, and this might not be new to people, she talked about the acronym WAIT, and it had to do in particular with when she was interacting with her adult child. And WAIT, and might come from AA as well. But anyway, WAIT stands for Why Am I Talking? So, and that really struck a chord with me. And so, like, shut up, like, and listen. Anyway, WAIT.
WAIT is a beautiful acronym. Create space in the conversation for the other, right?
Learn more by listening than talking. Huh?
I was thinking as you were speaking about, it seems like most of the really conversations that I came away feeling the most stimulated and excited happened in my youth more than as I grew older. And I'm wondering why. I don't have an answer for that. But the other thing is talking about being quiet. You can sort of tell when people are thinking about the thing they're going to say next instead of listening to your conversation, so, or participating in the conversation.
There was, I appreciate the sentiment. There was one word that I would take a little exception to, where you, or, and I may have misheard it, but we're sort of implying that these communications are natural or automatic is the wrong word. I think any communication system, whether it's this chap, Aristotle, Borman, conversations, the best ones are mindful, at least on one side. You have to practice communication and really think about it. And when I teach communication courses to people, and WAIT is a great acronym, I use it, because it's not natural for most people. So, mindful.
Absolutely. And I have found some people, at least who claim that that's how they've always been communicated. They've probably actually just been raised that way, right? And taught these things from a very young age where they really don't know another way. The part that I was trying to make the natural link to, and thank you for raising it, is when we are in an intellectual conversation, we're using our prefrontal cortex. We're using that part of the brain. When we're in an emotional conversation, we're using the limbic system and that different part of that is biologic. That doesn't mean it's at all natural necessarily that I'm going to be in an emotional conversation, you're going to be in an emotional conversation with me. That's the part that is a skill, right? And it's a skill that some people have been taught from how their parents communicated with them from the very beginning, or other people in their lives. And it's a skill some of us maybe start finding at 25. You know, wherever we find that time or that place, that is definitely a skill that can be developed. And that's one of the things I really want people to walk away with, is if this is how you communicate already, great, go you. And if this is something that you're picking up something that's interested in landing with you, great. That's awesome. It's a skill that can be developed. It's not that there are some super communicators and then the rest of us just can't do that, right?
I think I could have benefited from your sermon a day before yesterday, because we attended a memorial service at our old church, and it was very large, huge number of old friends, going back on the order of 50 or so years. And then at a reception after, when you sit around, you have that conflict of, do I want to tell them what I'm doing, or do I want to listen to what they're doing and what they've been through? And the day was full of those kinds of interactions. It was tiring.
It is emotional labor. When we're having good conversation, it's exhausting, right? We'll come back.
It seems to me that conversation is an art, especially in a group, big group. And that's where the most challenge is. In a big group, like we're having coffee out soon, we'll have coffee in the hallway. It's a big group. It's an art. And it's difficult in a big group because there's rankism, there is barriers. Women talk more naturally to each other. Men must have some good reason to talk, or articulate. Art, there it is, art. And it's a tough battle to come up with topics that will interest the other man. So remember, it's not that easy, but it can be done. It's a lot of work, because it's an art.
Thank you for sharing your experience, and I will just also name that there have been times I've been the woman in the room who had no idea how to start a conversation. So identities can be different and have different meanings to different people and different expressions. I think Dawn had a comment she wanted to share.
I was just thinking, when we were talking about the different kinds of conversations that we have and the different parts of the brain being activated, I was thinking that the first conversation that you have is the one with your child, is the one when they're born. And it's what that baby says right then. That begins the dialogue. And that would mean that for the next few years, everything is all about, from the child's point of view, it's all me. And then from there, the child has to grow to begin to see it's you. And then they can begin to learn to say, we. That's after they're teenagers and they've gone into, 20 years old. That's when they've reached their 20s. But I like to look at beginnings, and I thought perhaps that was the grounding of some of this. Thank you.
I do love we as the most powerful pronoun.
I was thinking when you mentioned you can be in an emotional conversation and somebody else is trying to solve the problem. What was that book, Men Were from Mars, Women Are from Venus? That was kind of one of those tenets that women want to talk it out and just be heard, but the guys want to, okay, let's cut to the chase and get the problem solved. You could do that. I've had conversations like that.
That whole framing ignores the social conversation,
Right.
which is embedded in there too, right? Yeah. So there's definitely lots of conversations we can be having, and if we're in different conversations, then we're just going to talk past each other, and that's missed opportunities. Oh, hand up. So I'll progress into our closing words. Please join me in the spirit of meditation as we prepare to go forth into our larger community. Let us bring our calm and open hearts, make peace and grow in wholeness, live in the integrity of the spirit of life within ourselves and all living things, being fully present to each moment of this one wild, wonderful, beautiful life. May it be so.
And now we'll extinguish the chalice. The words are in the insert, and Connie will lead.
May We Be the Blessings by Rebecca Savage. Spirit of life, eternal beloved of mystery and grace, receive our prayer. We come before that which is greater than ourselves in gratitude for the fullness of our lives, for the anguish and grief that inform our mission to side with love again and again, for the suffering and disenfranchisement of our people that foment our passion for justice and wholeness, for complex lives, for hard lives, for real, full, and overwhelmed lives. We give thanks for the blessings that we have been given, the reassurance of community, the steady warmth of hope, and the unwavering faith that there will be better days. We give thanks and seek your grace. Spirit of love, come alongside with all the holy nudges that we need, so we may live in such a way that we celebrate all the blessings that we have been given, so we may be the blessings of the world.
Have a wonderful week ahead, a joyous Thanksgiving on Thursday, and please join us for all 3 levels of conversation in the lobby.